let's talk about real power for a second. I'm not talking about the stuff you see in movies, but the kind of power that actually shapes careers, wins conflicts, and builds legacies. So let's get right into it, because the answer might be the exact opposite of what you think.
Okay, so picture this guy. You know him. You've seen him everywhere. The office, the gym, a family get-together. He's the one who's always talking just a little too loud, taking up just a little too much space, and making sure everyone knows he's a force to be reckoned with.
I mean, your first thought is probably, wow, this guy's in charge, right? That's the whole point of the display, to project strength, to project confidence and authority. It looks like it should work, but does it?
Well, not so fast. Because the man who literally wrote the book on power 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli, he would look at this whole tough guy performance and see a complete amateur, not a master. And not because the guy's not brave, but because he's getting the entire game of power fundamentally wrong.
So what's really going on here? What did Machiavelli see that most of us tend to miss? He saw that this whole performance, it isn't about strength at all. It's actually a scream, a desperate scream, about the fear of being weak. Let's break down this illusion.
Think of it like this. The tough guy act is basically a giant, flashing neon sign. And that sign says, I desperately need you to believe I'm strong because deep down, I'm terrified that I'm not. You know, people who are genuinely secure don't have to spend all their energy proving it. The very act of performing toughness gives the whole game away.
And here's the thing. This performance, it only fools the people who don't matter. The smart people in the room, they see right through it. They're taking notes on your insecurities. The actually dangerous people, they don't see a threat. They see an emotional, predictable target. And the valuable people, the ones you want as allies or partners, they're just gone. They don't have time for the drama.
And this is where it gets really dangerous. This whole act leads directly into what you could call the escalation trap. It's a trap that turns tiny, everyday problems into absolute catastrophes.
Machiavelli just nails it with this quote. See, the tough guy runs on pure emotion, not strategy. Someone looks it in the wrong way, and he immediately makes it a confrontation. He feels disrespected in an email, and he immediately fires back. He's always lighting a fuse without ever checking to see if it's connected to a firecracker or a barrel of dynamite.
And it's always the same story, the same predictable path. It starts with something small, a minor disagreement, but because his ego is so fragile, it triggers this massive emotional escalation. And once that happens, you've unleashed a chain of events you can't control anymore, leading to outcomes you never ever wanted.
Here's the dark but crucial truth. The people who have real power, the ones who are genuinely dangerous, they don't advertise. They're not looking for a fight in every room. They move quietly, they observe, they strike with precision, and then they disappear. It's the quiet ones you really need to be aware of.
Machiavelli knew something 500 years ago that's 1,000 times more true today. Being too visible makes you vulnerable. And the tough guy? Well, he makes himself the most visible, loudest person in the room. And in doing so, he makes himself the most vulnerable. I mean, just think about it for a second in our world. That aggressive email you sent, it gets forwarded. That angry outburst in a meeting, someone writes it down. That public confrontation, it's recorded on 10 different smartphones. Every single one of those tough guy moments becomes permanent evidence against you.
And this is really the tragedy of it all, captured perfectly by Machiavelli. The person playing the tough guy is so obsessed with the appearance of strength that they lose touch with what's real. People are so busy watching the show, the anger, the bluster, that they never get a chance to see who you really are underneath it all. Okay, let's just pause here for a second, because I really want to know what you think. The idea that being loud makes you a target, or that trying to look tough is actually a broadcast of insecurity? Does any of this challenge how you see strength? Drop a comment below. I'd genuinely love to read your take on it. All right, so if being the loud, aggressive, tough guy is a losing strategy, what's the alternative? Well, this is where Machiavelli gives us a truly powerful mindset, a way to be strong without being a fool. It's probably his most famous idea, and it's absolutely brilliant. He said you need to be both a lion and a fox. You need the lion strength, that raw power, to be direct and to confront threats when you absolutely have to. But you also need the fox's cunning, its cleverness, to spot traps, to be strategic, to outthink your opponents.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. The tough guy, he's only a lion. He's got one tool in his toolbox, a hammer, aggression, so every problem looks like a nail. But the strategist, the lion and the fox, has a whole workshop. They can be charming, they can negotiate, they can build alliances, or, if necessary, they can be the lion. That adaptability is what makes them truly dangerous.
Okay, this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. It's about shifting your mindset from intimidation to something much, much more powerful: indispensability. So you've probably heard that famous Machiavellian quote, "It's better to be feared than loved," and most people get it totally wrong. He's not talking about being afraid of your temper, he's talking about people being afraid to lose you. It's the fear of the consequences of your competence. It's the respect you command when people know, I can't afford for this person to be my enemy, not because they'll yell at me, but because they're just that good. So at the end of the day, the foundations of real power are simple. It's based on what you can actually do, not what you threaten to do. It's built on the value you bring, not your emotional volatility. It's grounded in your competence, not your anger. And it's earned through results, not through theatrics.
And I think this thought just wraps it all up perfectly. A boxing match is all about brute force, about winning that one confrontation, right now. But chess is about strategy, about seeing 10 moves ahead, about positioning yourself for a victory that happens way down the line. The tough guy is playing checkers, maybe boxing, but the strategist is playing chess. So that leaves you with a really important question to ask yourself. Are you playing a boxing match focused on winning these little momentary confrontations, or are you playing the long game of chess?
Because ultimately, true strength is quiet. It doesn't need to shout. It's felt in your actions, and it's seen in your results. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are, and the wisdom to play the right game. Hey, if this little exploration made you think, you're going to love what we do here at Mindscope Philosophy. We dive into challenging ideas just like this one every week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for joining me.